Hello world, welcome to a new video after such a long time. I'm recording this October 25th from the city of Cuenca. This is the peak hour. Kids are coming out from the schools, cars are going back to their homes and all of that. And I'm here to talk about a situation happening in all of Ecuador, not only in Cuenca, even though I'm recording from Cuenca. And I'm doing it this time because it was very hot. It's been very hot. Maybe you've heard about this, and the situation is the blackouts, the power outages going on in the country. This is in all of Ecuador, not only in the Andes, in the Amazon, the coast, well, except in Galapagos because they have thermal power generation, that's from long ago. But the rest of the country, we have a difficult situation. In this sector, we have normal light, you can see the streets, the traffic lights, but we're going to the river. And as I'm going there, I will explain what's happening. Today, October 25th, Friday, we were announced of something very shocking. We had been announced earlier this week by the president in a national broadcast, TV and radio broadcast, that we would have outages being reduced. We've been having outages, power outages for 1 month so far. These outages started being like 7 hours a day, 8 hours, and they have just kept increasing. Now, these outages, earlier this week, they said that they would be reduced because they would bring more generation, and that, well, they didn't say that, but it was clearly seen that they were expecting that there would be more rain and the outages would be reduced starting next week from the 10 hours we were having to 8 hours, then in 2 weeks to 6 hours, and then like in mid to late November to 4 hours a day. But this morning, Friday, October 25th, we were announced that we would have the outages increased to actually 14 hours a day. These divided in 3 blocks. Extremely shocking, extremely worrying, because the situation is very, very concerning. The situation is affecting all of the city, all of the country, but in different areas. It's not like the whole country shuts down during these schedules, no. They divide these in 3 blocks. Some areas 4 hours, then 2 hours, some 3, it varies. And it's not in all of one whole town at the same time, or at least not in the big cities. It goes by sectors, districts, blocks. So I'm here in Cuenca, and that up there is the historic district. This is the Solano Avenue, so we're going to the modern area, or the urban main area here. And sometimes you have electricity here, but not here. Or you have electricity here, but not here. Or you have electricity here, and then 2 more blocks, you don't have any. It goes by districts. But why is all of this happening? That's happening because 90% of the energy used in Ecuador comes from hydropower plants. And the hydropower plants work with water. But we're going through a very extreme drought. The most extreme drought in 60 years. According to the government, well, some other people as well. But you can clearly see this. I'm on the above the Tomebamba. I'm in the area of the Centenario, and this here to my left is the Tomebamba River. It's very, very dry. I will leave a clip here of how this normally looks like. Let's cross and let's walk around. You usually can't see as many rocks as this. But that's the situation. Also, well, these dates we will be having the festivals of Cuenca, the longest holiday, which was from the 1st of November, Friday, to Monday the 4th of November. But also, besides the news of 14 hours of power outage, today we received the news that there would be no classes and they would declare like another holiday on Thursday, October 31st. That is for reducing the energy consumption in the whole country. And so we're having next week a 5-day holiday. We're having the Cuenca Festival, so for next week we will have fairs here, tents. This, what you're seeing here on the river, is not normal at all. You can see as many rocks, and it's impossible to cross from one side to the other in normal conditions. I mean, normally during the whole year, it's simply not possible to cross from one side to the other. But now you can. And many people are also coming to take pictures doing that. And this is the Tomebamba River section by Parque de la Madre, by the Barranco of the historic district. Barranco is cliff in English. Barranco is cliff in Spanish. How fun will the festivals be? We can't really tell. Until when the outages will last, we cannot tell. And this is the official word of the government. Yeah, the situation is extreme due to the weather conditions, but also because the former governments didn't maintain the thermal power plants, the thermal power generation we had. They relied only on the hydropower generation. But now that we have been through 2 years of severe drought, well, in different seasons, but last year it was the same, we were already having outages. Then it started raining and the current government simply relaxed, and now we're having again this situation. This is affecting severely our lives. Here in the city of Cuenca, which is in the Andes, perhaps not that much because it is fresh. And even though I am recording at this time because it was very hot during the day, it's perhaps the season in which I recall the hottest of all the time, with being like 80, feeling of 85, which is not normal at all. In Celsius, that would be like, was feeling like 30, 32, not normal at all. The situation now is of high uncertainty because imagine if the companies, if the industries don't have energy, how will they produce? And if they don't produce, how do they make money? And if they don't make money, how do they pay wages? What else could happen? Yes, they have been putting people like to work for less hours in order not to fire them. Some other companies are firing people, and the worst is yet to come. The dry season is normally during this time of the year, October and November, and December is when it starts raining. Sometimes early December, but usually by mid to late December. Will it happen this year like that? We don't know. Some people, some experts forecast that this may last until February. We don't know again, because even the former Minister of Energy that quit when he was inquired about until when the outages would last, he replied, I'm quoting, "Only God knows." The government was relying on some rain coming, because there was actually some rain. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, we had some good rain that allowed the rivers to recover a little bit. People were happy. The government was also glad and announcing that the outages would be reduced. And okay, all cool, because also this was all yellow. there was almost no green here because the grass didn't have any water. Now you see it green because it rained. But it's already almost 2 weeks without any rain again, or at least rain in the mountain up there, so that it comes here. And this water goes to the hydropower plant of the Paute complex, where there are 3 generators. We have Mazar, which is a dam. They activate it when needed, but now it's at the minimum level. If Mazar keeps working like this, there is a risk that the engines get damaged. And that's why now, what I heard in the news like 2 hours ago, it's turned off because it cannot work at that level.
En condiciones normales, hasta aquí debería llegar el nivel normal del río.
Es evidente el estiaje que enfrenta el complejo hidroeléctrico Paute. El escenario es dramático desde donde se lo vea. La falta de lluvias ha provocado que el caudal del río Paute, que alimenta la represa Mazar, muestre una caída de picada. Lo óptimo sería que ingrese 140 metros cúbicos por segundo, pero este viernes al mediodía no sobrepasó los 19. Por ello, a las 6 de la mañana se optó por sacar de línea las centrales, Mazar, Molino y Sopladora, seguramente para precautelar la poca agua que queda. Mazar sigue con una cota de 2.111 metros. Volver a operar con este nivel es un riesgo.
Las unidades puedan llegar un momento a dañarse, no solo dejar de operar, sino dañarse. Hay que precautelar la seguridad de las unidades. Recordemos que tenemos unidades de cerca de 85 megavatios en Mazar, 2 unidades, y si es que llegaran a operar con exceso de sedimentos pueden dañarse sus rotores.
Río más abajo, a 30 minutos, está la hidroeléctrica Molino, la que más electricidad genera, 1.100 megavatios, pero que es dependiente del agua de Mazar. Por ello las alertas también se encendieron acá. La cota está a 4 metros del nivel mínimo. Sopladora, que a su vez aprovecha el agua de Molino, igualmente está en aprietos. La afección es inminente, las reservas de agua se agotan. Solo las lluvias podrían ayudar. Y según los pronósticos, lamentablemente las precipitaciones serán escasas para los próximos días.
We're relying on another plant, which is called Coca-Cola Sinclair, the largest one. And the ones here, where like the Tomebamba River goes to, Mazar Paute, is at its most critical levels since it's working. You can see how it is now. But I will put clips here of how it normally looks like. Now it's fresh, but it was super hot, in my opinion, because I've been living in the city for 9 years. It's super hot. It was all yellow. Now it's better because it's also been raining in the city a little bit. But raining in the city and a little bit is not enough. It has to rain up there, up on top of the hill and up in the mountain, so that the stream takes a lot of water that will go to the dam. The situation now is bearable. For tourists coming, many places, restaurants, hotels, many of these places have generators. They work with diesel, with gasoline, and you won't notice too much. But even some Airbnbs that are in modern buildings have generators. I mean, the buildings have generators. Many people, immigrants, let's say from the US, Canada, they live in buildings with generators. So they don't feel too much the impact. And for most people, I would say that it is bearable at the moment. The problem is that we don't know the impact that this will have if this continues. Because again, the workplaces want to be able to keep people if they are not producing, because how are they going to pay the salaries if they are not selling? Also, people are taking care of their money even more because they don't know if they can be dismissed. Also, they are not producing because they are not selling. I am in the mountain, as I told you. Here it is fresh and you don't need air conditioner. You don't sell ice cream that much. I was in the Amazon region this past weekend, and it was very complicated because the people who sell ice creams, the people who sell sodas, waters, cold, they didn't have energy to keep the freezers, the refrigerators on. I was watching a report about the people that produce ice creams, the famous Salcedo ice creams in the center of the country. they are not selling as much anymore because they're not having purchases anymore. Also, people who sell meat, they can't sell as much. People are buying like almost what they need in the day because they cannot keep food refrigerated. Look, this is a very common thing nowadays. People are crossing the river, which is normally impossible. And by the way, I didn't introduce myself. If you haven't watched any other videos of mine before, I'm Luis Velázquez Pazmiño, and in the channel Luis of Ecuador, I talk about events happening in Ecuador, about things, news that affect our lives, and this channel is for people who are interested in knowing about what is happening in Ecuador, how it is impacting our lives, but also I read your questions. So if you have any questions about the situation, please feel free to leave them. And if you're not subscribed, I invite you to subscribe because you would be helping me in that way also. I have electricity where I live. I don't have a generator, but what I've heard is that we are connected to the line of one of the main public hospitals, so that's why we don't get outages in that area. Another theory is that we are connected to the transmission line of the prison, Turi, that is here in Cuenca, so they cannot take down energy here or in that area. And there are other areas that are lucky, but must have outages. And today, that is of 14 hours a day, like this schedule here. The government is trying to buy energy from Colombia again, more energy, but it won't be enough. So they are also bringing another type of thermal generation that will be implemented in November, like starting mid-November. And that would relieve the situation. But we rely mainly on rain. And if companies start dismissing by a lot, industries start dismissing by a lot, because consumption has decreased a lot, and that is in all industries. I work in tourism mainly, and it's terrible. It's perhaps our worst year, because first we started with all the news about the insecurity, all the events you may have heard of, like the television attack in January, then the states of emergency, and I will talk about that in another video, how that situation is now. But I may tell you that that's not our main problem. Our main problem at the moment is this, the outages, because without electricity, no internet. Even the mobile signal, the cell phone signal goes down, because the antennas, they have batteries, backup batteries, but when there's no electricity and these batteries have not fully recharged, their backup power gets out very quickly. And some areas get without any mobile signal, which is terrible. So no internet, no cell phone service, no electricity. It's terrible. You can imagine. It's perhaps not as terrible as I told you, it's still bearable, but for how much longer? Because you can feel the impact now. You can feel how people are buying less, people are consuming less, and that means companies are selling less, so less employment may be kept. Until when? We don't know. Like the former minister said, only God knows. The current ministry in charge, or let's say, the current acting ministry, says that they're working in all the measures possible for this, and they promise that for December the situation will be better for all of December, but I mean, they didn't really say how much better, because we are having outages of 14 hours and reducing outages to 8 hours a day. That's better, but that's not really good. Well, anyways, we are preparing now for festivals of Cuenca. They're finishing the famous new modulation of the Escalinatas. We are prepared. There are many concerts, there are many events. All of this will be fairs. So if you're coming now in November, early November next week to Cuenca, I think you will have a good time. If you're a digital nomad, that's, well, not good, because you most probably will suffer from the outages. And I know digital nomads that have had to leave the country because of all of this situation. less digital nomads are coming, of course, less tourists are coming in general. It's a bad year and it will improve. For a moment we have to endure. I will read your questions and comments in the comment section. If you are not subscribed, subscribe. Please invite more people to watch this channel, these videos. And well, I will keep you posted. I will keep commenting more things. We'll be in touch. Thank you for watching the video until this point, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.